morning. I welcome you all on my session. Yeah, okay, fine. So in the last class, we have discussed with respect to a lot of different kinds of languages in English. Okay, we studied about Greek, we studied about Fluent, and even we studied about school. So these are the different kinds of the languages that is present in your head. Today we are going to study about, even we studied about the flume. Okay, so what is a flume? Basically, what is a flume? As you people know, okay, about Flume. Okay, so Scoop, Flume. Flume is a tool service that is basically used to transfer large amount of streaming data. Okay, basically we are going to transfer large amount of streaming data. Keep remember with this command, put command. Okay, that is used in order to copy the data over the Flume. Okay, so then even we have studied about Flume agents where we are going to have three things. One is a source, one is a sink, and one more is a channel. Okay, so we studied multi-agent consolidation, and we started with the Hive. Okay, what is a Hive actually? Hive is a data warehouse. Okay, so where warehouse, warehouse is a place where all the data is going to be dumped, and it is mainly going to deal with the structured data. Okay, so initially the Hive was developed by the Facebook. Okay, and those people were using the Hive for their applications. But what happened? Apache came into the picture and they took over the Hive and they have developed Hive different kinds of applications over the Hive and they have made it open source. That's the beauty of the Hive. Okay, so we studied even Hive is going to have a separate kind of a language. Okay. Yes, Hive is going to have a separate kind of query language. Okay. So instead of SQL, we are going to tell it as HQL. HQL is nothing but Hive query language. Okay. So here, instead of writing a program like Java and all, we are going to run a query. Query is going to help us to fetch the data. That's the beauty of the query. Okay. So with this, you can see the architecture of the Hive. Okay. So this is very, very important. This is a HDFS base or H base. You can see here where it is going to act like a centralized data storage. Okay. So here in between there is a meta store. Okay, we will study everything in detail just to have a look. Okay, this is a user interface. What is the meaning of user interface? Where the client is going to act. If I see with respect to cloud, everything is based on the cloud in the Hadoop. So this is what is a IaaS, infrastructure as a service. This is going to act like a PaaS, platform as a service, and this is going to act like a SaaS. There is nothing but software as a service. Do you understand? I think it's very easy for you guys to understand because even I'm the one who is going to who has handled the cloud computing subject for you guys. Okay, this is a IaaS infrastructure which is going to act like a centralized storage. This is what it is going to help you to access this infrastructure that is going to become a platform, and this is where everybody is going to see the content that is nothing but a software. So even in this architecture of the Hive, you can see PaaS, IaaS, and even SaaS. Okay, so let us see everything in detail. What is the user interface? The first thing, user interface. Okay, people can see in user interface, it may be a web user interface, or it may be a Hive command line, or it may be HD, high definition inside. Okay, so what is this user interface? Hive, basically Hive is a data warehouse infrastructure. Okay, that can create basically the interaction. Okay, interaction between user and HDFS. This is a user and this is a HDFS. Hive is going to present on the top of this. Okay, basically it is going to deal with the structured data. Okay, and it is going to create the interaction between user and the HDFS. That is the purpose of a user interface. Okay, so Metastore. You people know every software is having their own kind of a database language to access the data from the centralized data store. Are you guys understanding? Even here also, Metastore is a place where you are going to have a database server, okay, which is basically going to store the schema. Okay, and when I say schema, it is not only the schema, or it may be a tables, it may be a databases, it may be a columns in the tables, it may be a rows in the tables. Everything is going to be stored in this kind of a metastore. Okay, so coming to HQL, as I told you, people can see HQL. Okay, as I told you, HQL is a query language. Like how you people are a structured query language here. Here also it is going to deal with the structured data, but we are not going to call it as a SQL. We are going to call it as a HQL. You should never forget. Okay, here we never call it as a SQL. We are going to call it as a HQL. When I say HQL, okay, it is nothing but high query language. Okay, So here, what happens? This whenever I run a query over a Metastore, basically even in the simple DBMS lab, you people will do the same thing. Okay, you people will be having an editor. On the editor, you are going to run a query, and that is going to go you and fetch you the data from the database server. Here it is a Metastore is a database server, and this is a query. Okay, query language where you are going to run the query, and in turn you are going to get the data. That is what HQL is going to do, and you're going to have execution engine. Okay, that is also present in this beneath of the HQL. Okay, which is going to act like a it is going to help you to map reduce process. Okay, so where instead of using a map reduce, it is going to run the query. Execution engine, what is the meaning of execution engine? Where actual the execution is going to take place. Okay, you may run the Java program, you may run Pig programs, you may run Scoop programs, you may run Flumo program, but here you are going to run a Hive program. That is purely written in HQL. That is what it is going to fetch you the data. Okay, so coming back, HDFS or HBase, people know HDFS or HBase is a centralized data storage. Okay, every data is going to be dumped in the HDFS or HBase. People can see any diagram in the past. People can see here HDFS, HDFS, HBase, right? So wherever people see starting from the Pig to Hive, any other languages, what people can see is they are the one which is going to act like a centralized storage, where actual data is going to be stored. Okay, so these are the very basic things. So let us see the working of a Hive. Hive is going to work on a step-by-step process. Okay, let us see what happens whenever I say interface. Okay, it may be a user interface, it may be like web interface, it may be a HDFS command line, or it may be a HD Insight. Can you see here? Okay, web-based interface means I'm going to give the input from the web browser. Okay, or it may be a command prompt, or it may be a Hive command prompt, where from there also I'm going to give the input, or it may be HD Insight, high definition insight. Okay, so that is the first thing what comes. Okay, so what happens, that is what the high interface, such as it may be a command line or web interface, they are going to take the query to the drivers. Guys, what is the meaning of a query? Means, you people believe me, whatever I write in the Google, like what is Hive? What is Hive? It is divided into what plus is plus Hive. That is going to run like a query, okay, in the backend, and they are going to search for the match words Hive, and they are going to fetch the information and get it back to you. That is how the Google works. Okay, even the Google works based on the query, right? So here also, okay, I will get the query, okay, either from the command line or from the web builder interface or from the any other drivers. Okay, so then what happens? People can see the second thing, the driver will accept the query. Okay, and the driver will take the query to the compiler. Why we need a compiler? Why we need a compiler to check for the syntaxes. Okay, we need a compiler to check for the syntax. Even in Google also, people can see, if I write something an unknown word, even Google cannot fetch it. It's a no data available, right? Why? Because such a information is not stored in the Google database server also. So in the same fashion, I should write the meaningful query. And who is going to check whether my query is meaningful or not? Again, there is a compiler. The compiler will check for my syntax, and it is going to parse the information. Okay, that is what the compiler will do. Okay, and the third thing is third thing is the compiler will send this if the query is correct without any errors. See the step number 3. Are you seeing? One, it will take the information from the it will take the information from the interface. Okay, it is going to send to driver. Driver will. Okay, sorry for the interrupt. Okay, fine. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so sorry for the interrupt. Let us continue. As I was telling, yeah, the first thing is interface. Interface will get the information. It is going to send you to the driver. Driver is going to carry the information to the mm, compiler, and then compiler is going to check for the syntax. If the syntax is correct, then it is going to forward that to Metastore. You know what is the meaning of a Metastore? Metastore is a place where we are going to have the schema. Okay, we are going to have the schema and tables and columns. Everything is stored in the Metastore. Okay, so then Metastore is going to verify for the information. If it is going to be available, then it is going to send back to the compiler. Okay, that is step number 4. Then compiler will accept the information and forward it to the driver. The driver will going to drive the data to the execution engine. That is step number 6. Okay, then the execution engine is going to take forward the data to the execute job. Here actually the thing is going to work. See, this is how the things even the Google works. Google is also the concept like this. Okay, so then execution engine is going to send the data to the Hadoop system. Okay, it's the biggest cluster where we are going to have the name node and the data node. Here the job tracker is going to act like a name node, which is going to allocate the task to the data node, which is going to the data node. Okay, so when this allocate the task to the task tracker, this is going to map and reduce the information. Okay, once the information is ready from the data nodes, it is going to send back to the job keeper. Again, people can see step number 8. Job tracker is going to get the job and allocate to the execution engine. Again, execution engine is going to allocate the information to the driver, and the driver is going to allocate the information to the web user interface or command prompt or even SD inside. This is how the whole process works in the 10 steps. Okay, so this is a very, very important question. So let me explain you one more time that the input is going to take from the web interfaces. It is going to send to the driver. Driver is going to send the information for the compiler, whether the query, what you have written is correct or wrong. It is going to search for the syntax and it's going to pass the information. Then it is going to get the information, send the information to the Metastore. Metastore is the place where you are going to store for the schemas. Okay, the Metastore is the query. If the Metastore is having such information, it is going to reply back to the compiler. The compiler will again send the information to the driver. Driver is send the information to the execution engine where actual execution is going to take place. This execution engine is nothing but based on the Hadoop cluster. It's one of the biggest cluster where we are having seeing only one name node and 3 data nodes. But in a reality of the cluster, there may be thousands of the name nodes. For such thousands of the name nodes, there may be lakhs together of data nodes. This is what the reality is. Okay, so this is how the things works. Okay, then again the name node is going to send the information to the data node, which is going to act in data node. They are going to map and reduce the information. Again, they are going to send the information to the job tracker. The job tracker is going to send the information to the execution engine. Execution is going to drive the information to the driver, and at last we are going to get the reply. This is going to happen within fraction of seconds or thousands of the nodes. That is the beauty of the system. Okay, that is the beauty of the big data. Okay, I don't know who is talking here. Abhishek. Okay, this is how the things goes. Okay, this is how the things goes. So then coming back to the data types, all the data types in the Hive are classified into 4 types. It may be a column type, literal type, null values, and complex types. Okay, whenever I say column types, basically we are going to write the basic query over the column. Okay, whether it may be an integer, if the data is of integer type, or if I need a big more length. You people know 2 bytes of information is not sufficient in C programming. I'm going to go for 4 bytes of the information. Even 4 bytes is not sufficient. I'm going to go for 8 bytes of the information. Okay, but here instead of going for such information, we are going to go for big int. If I require the more range of data, if I require the small range of data, we are going to go for small int and even tiny int. Okay, these are very basics data types in column type. Okay, when I come for strings, strings are going to be represented in a single quote and double quote, where there are 2 kinds of the strings. One is var and one more is character. Okay, and when I come for the timestamp, okay, when I come for the timestamp, I can even have a date in the format of YYYY and even I can have a time in terms of hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, so even I work on the decimals. This is the column types of the data. When I come for literals, basically in Hive, I'm going to have a floating point of the data, whether it may be a double or even decimal type. You people can see what is the range of the big data. Okay, 10 to the power of 308. Okay, if anybody is very free in this holidays, I request you to kindly calculate the amount of the size and tell me back. Really, it will help me. Okay, so 10 to the power of 300, 10 to the power of 308. Okay, that is the storage capacity of the floating type literal in case of big data. Okay, so this is how the things goes. And then again, high data types consist of arrays, which is similar, going to work similarly to that of Java. Maps, if you can remember, maps, bags, and one more thing. What are the three things? Maps, bags, and collections. Okay, so this is how the similar Java is going to work. So coming back, how I'm going to run the query in the same manner. You people know how is going to run the query, like SQL, structured query language. Instead of we are going to call it as SQL, we are going to call it as a HQL. Okay, so what we are going to do, create database. Okay, what is the name of the database? User DB. If I want to see such database, I'm going to tell show database. If I want to drop a database, I'm going to say drop database if exists user DB. If I want to drop the whole schema, I can say drop schema user DB. And similarly, like SQL, I can create a table. Okay, if create table, if not exist employee, this I need to check because it's a very big system. It's not a small system that you can creep type. Okay, I have created employee table. I have created a student table. I have created a employee salary table. It is not a simple database, guys. It is having a thousands of the nodes, thousand lakhs together of the nodes, right? It is not a very simple database. So you people always check if table, create table, if not exist employee. Okay, similar to that. And here we are going to terminate the statement by /t. Okay, next line by /n, and basically information is stored in terms of a text file. Okay, like a notepad file, word file. Basically it's going to store like a text file. Okay, so then we are going to have alter table. Okay, I can even alter table employee, rename to employee to EAMP, and drop the table, similar to that of SQL queries. That is why it is very flexible, Hadoop. Okay, anybody in upcoming days working on the big data, really people remember these things. Okay, Pig, Flume, what else, Scoop, Hive, yet to come Uzi. Okay, everything people remember. Okay, so this is how the things goes. Even I want to drop the table, I can say drop table if exist employee. Very simple, very similar to that of your SQL, but here not I'm going to say as SQL, very little syntax difference. Instead of SQL, we are going to tell it as a HQL. Okay, HQL, high query language. Coming back to our next kind of concept, in case of our Hadoop distributed system, or I can say Hadoop. Okay, we studied about Pig, we studied about Hive, we studied about Flume. Okay, Scoop, and now we are studying about Uzi. What is this? Everything. See, everything is developed by Apache. Initially, they have developed by some other companies, Yahoo, Facebook, but Apache take over all the concepts and they have made it as an open source. I'm really telling, if you want to know this concepts more detail, kindly install your cluster, one simple cluster and one node. You people need to install it, and then you will understand what really the things are. Okay, so if time permits in the upcoming days, we will do together. Okay, or somebody is doing on the project, you people know how to install a cluster, kindly share a Zoom class to your friends and get the ratings. Really it is going to work out. Even you will learn, your friends will learn. Okay, so I was discussing about the Apache OZ. Okay, Apache OZ is a workflow scheduler. Okay, basically it is a scheduler. People know no human intervention when we are running all these things over a Hadoop cluster. Okay, basically everything is scheduled workflow. Okay, somebody will open the browser, they are going to send the inquiry, the query is accepted, there will be backend cluster, data nodes, name nodes. Okay, you people will be having meta store, you people are having centralized data store. Everything is working based on the schedule. Okay, so for such things, Apache Uzi is the one kind of concept or one topic which is going to help you to schedule the workflow over the Hadoop. Okay, basically, it is a system which runs the workflow of dependent jobs. You know, dependent jobs. Okay, dependent jobs need scheduler to complete the work. Okay, sometimes what happens, for example, I need to check out if the any activity not happens, I need to sign out automatically. Right, it's a dependent job, and who is going to schedule such jobs? Uzi. Okay, you people see sometimes I have logged out with another Gmail account in another system, and here I'm trying to log in. Again, the scheduler says that, yeah, you have logged in some other system, please log out. This is how the schedulers works. Okay, so don't believe this is simple concepts examples I'm giving. In a real system, there are a lot to do. Okay, you people see Google is going to use Google Big Table. Okay, so in the upcoming class, we will see after Uzi. HBase. HBase is same design to the Google Bigtable, but here it is designed by Yahoo. That is designed by Google. So Google and Bigtable, Google Bigtable and even Hadoop base both are same, but that is a standard developed by Google, so they are going to call it as a Google Bigtable, and this is the standard developed by Hadoop, so they are going to call it as Hadoop base. They are all going to work in the same manner with little differences. Okay, so coming back, Apache Uzi is a workflow scheduler, okay, for Hadoop, and basically it is a system which runs the workflows dependent jobs. Okay, here the job is going to be run in terms of DAG. Okay, go for your ADA classes, remember DAG. Okay, directed acyclic graphs of workflows. Okay, so where there will be a direction but there will be a lack of cycles. Okay, there will be a direction which can be run both in parallel and sequential in Hadoop. Okay, we can run two or more workflows in parallel, or we can run the workflows in a sequence one after the other. That is left to the dependent jobs, what kind of job it is. Okay, that is very, very important. Basically, if people see, Uzi is the one which is going to help you to schedule the workflow. Okay, and when I say Flume, what is the work of a Flume? Anybody say what is the work of a Flume? Don't waste my time. Maybe unmute and just try to say what is the work of the Flume. Okay, it's a tool which is going to help you to work on what kind of data. Anyone? Anyone can answer me this question? What is the work of a Flume? Guys, in middle night, if I wake up and ask you, you have to tell these things. Very, very important. Okay, just listening and naming is of no use. Anybody can tell me what is the work of a Flume? Flume. Basically, it is going to help you to work on streaming data. Okay, streaming data. Okay, so kindly understand these languages. They are very, very important. Listening and naming is of no use. Even this is lifetime language for you guys who are learning. If you go to company, they will ask, you know, any new technology. If you say yes, I know big data, then they will ask the questions on this language only. On this concepts only. They may ask on Pig, they may ask on Hive, they may ask on Uzi, they may ask on Scoop, they may ask on Flume. Okay, so coming back, Apache Uzi consists of three things. Okay, one is workflow engine. What is the work of a workflow engine? Its responsibility is to store and run. Okay, workflow like Hadoop jobs or MapReduce or Pig information, Hive informations. Okay, that is the work of the workflow engine. What is the work of a coordinator engine? Okay, there are three kinds of engines. One is called as a workflow engine, which is responsibility is to store and run the workflows. Okay, the second coordinator engine. It runs workflows jobs based on predefined schedule. Means you people know everything is automated today. Okay, everything is automated. Even if my banking system works on a Hadoop, it is purely an automated where your transaction, if you buy something in Amazon, your transaction will move. Okay, so it runs workflow jobs based on predefined schedules. Okay, and bundle is nothing but it is a highest level of abstraction that will batch a set of coordinator jobs. A set of coordinator jobs, predefined jobs is a bundle. Predefined. Now you people see in banking only, you people do the transaction. Who will accept the transaction? Everything is automated. If you want to do the same thing manually, you have to go to bank. You have to stand in a line. You have to fill the form. Okay, you have to give to the cashier. The cashier will accept. He is going to give you a hard copy. You need to come back. The same thing is happening in the background without a human support. That is what the workflow is, which is scheduled. Okay, and if people know automatic debit system, automatic credit system, they are all the part of this. Okay, so what happens here, a coordinator engine is nothing but it is going to run the workflow jobs based on the predefined schedule. And bundle is nothing but higher level of abstraction that is going to have a batch of coordinators job. Understand the thing, workflow engine is basically just to store and run the manual kind of Uzi. Okay, coordinator engine, it is going to run workflow jobs based on predefined schedules. And bundle is collection of such schedules. Okay, collection of such schedules. That is how the Apache works. Basically, Apache is scalable. That is what we require nowadays in the cloud. Cloud is scalable. Cloud is flexible. Even the Hadoop is a part of a cloud. Okay, so even Apache Uzi is scalable, which can manage the timely execution of thousands of workflows. For example, daily, how many of you are doing online transactions? That is the best example of Uzi. Okay, it is going to schedule, it is going to complete, or even thousands of auto debit and auto credit. Okay, that's an example. Okay, scalable, flexible, which can start, suspend, stop, return. And if people know, anyway, everybody is having Netflix login. Are you guys every time pay manually the amount into the Netflix every month? No, it is automatically going to get deducted from your account, right? That is the word scheduled. Okay, and even if people see Amazon subscribe, where you buy a product and subscribe automatically every month. That is where the scheduler comes in the such a big cluster. Amazon's also using Hadoop. Amazon is using Hadoop. Twitter is using Hadoop. Facebook is using Hadoop. Okay, LinkedIn is using Hadoop. Every big company, one or the other, even Google is using Hadoop, but they are having their own standards. They never say it as a Hadoop. That's the difference. Okay, so one can easily understand or failed jobs due to downtime or failure. Yeah, how does Uzi works? Okay, there are two things in the Uzi. One is control flow node, and one more is action node. Okay, control flow node is going to control the workflow execution. Okay, between the actions by allowing construct like conditional logic. Okay, if the 1 month completes auto debit, that's a condition logic. Okay, if the payment is not successful, redirect the payment back to the same account. That is a conditional logic where we are having different branches. Okay, it may be start the node, end the node, and error in the node. Start the node where the actually it is going to start the workflow. End the node once the work is completed, it is going to end the job. Error node. Okay, there's a best I can show you through the diagram. Okay, so before going to this start node, end node, and error node, let us see what is action node. Action node represent the workflow task, like moving of the files into Hadoop distributed systems. If I going for a banking system, moving of an amount transaction, okay, crediting, debiting, that's a very big example of a what I can say job scheduler. So coming back, as I told you, start, begin the work. It is going to do the map reduce program. Okay, if any error occurs, it is going to become unsuccessful, terminated. Just take an example of a payment in the Phone Pay or Google Pay. Start. Okay, it is going to allocate the payment. If error occurs, unsuccessful, payment is not done. If no error, successful, end the process. Okay, so here one more option is there. That is what you people do in your Phone Pay. Start the payment. Action node is going to start the work. If it is success, then also you will get an email. If it is failure, then also you will get a email, and you are going to kill the process. And then once the email is done, your process is success. This is how the workflow is going to be scheduled in case of Uzi. Okay, so this is all about the Uzi, guys. Never forget these languages. Okay, I will show you in the first slide. Okay, if I show into the first slide, people studied about Scoop. Okay, Scoop is used to import and export the data from SDFS and RDBMS. If people know Pig is a procedural language. Okay, basically developed in terms of a script. You need to study about you have studied about HBase. No, you need to study about HBase now. Hive. Okay, it is used to develop SQL type of scripts. Okay, Flume you have studied, used to handle the streaming data on the top of the Hadoop. Uzi, basically it's a workflow scheduler. All these things you have already studied. Okay, you need to study now HBase. Okay, so let us start with the HBase. HBase is same as that of your Google big table. Okay, I think these are all the words you have already heard in your cloud computing. You are lucky enough that you have studied the cloud computing. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was telling. We are going to study about HBase. Okay, now Apache Uzi also there. HBase. As I was telling, HBase. Okay, HBase is a data model. Okay, which is similar to that of Google Big Table. I told you guys, Google is having their own standard. They are going to use the Google Big Table, but in the same manner, with little difference, Hadoop is going to use HBase. Okay, so this is how the things works in the big companies. Okay, basically what is the main agenda behind HBase? Keep it in your mind one thing. HBase is a centralized storage which is going to store a huge amount of structured data. Okay, so basically centralized storage, HBase and Hadoop distributed file systems, they both store the information, centralized information, okay, in a structured manner. If I go for past 1970s, what we are having to store the data, we are having RDBMS. Okay, if whenever I say in 1970, if I want to store the data, then everybody was telling go for RDBMS, which will going to help you to store and maintain the data. But now the technology has changed. Okay, the data has been replaced from small data or traditional data or RDBMS data to a big data. The data coming from sensors, the data coming from Facebooks, the data coming from Twitters. Okay, this is a huge, huge data, and we are going to call it as a big data. And the companies need something big to store such data, and companies need something to process such big data. That is where the whole Hadoop is going to come into the picture. Okay, so that is why every company start to use Hadoop. Okay, yeah, I cannot use RDBMS now because the type of data has been changed from RDBMS, small data, RDBMS, relational database management system, to something called as a big data. Okay, you people also know now, for example, just one Amazon. Okay, how much number of data Amazon is having daily, how many products they are going to sell, how many customers they are going to reach, a huge data. So the companies cannot use your traditional way of data storage. So every company is going to jump nowadays to a concepts like Hadoop, which is going to help you to store the big amount of data. That is nothing but called as big data. Okay, so there is limitations. Even in your case of your Hadoop, there is a limitation. You people can see any technology, you people will see there will be two things actually, basically. One is its advantages and one more its disadvantages. Okay, so when I say limitations, what I can say, Hadoop can perform only batch processing. Very biggest problem with the Hadoop is nothing but it is going to do batch processing. Okay, so when I'm doing batch processing, there is a problem. What is the problem in case of a batch processing? Where I can only process a certain batch of information. If one batch of information is present in data node 1, see people see this, a rough way of representing. Okay, this is one data node, and I'm having one more data node. Okay, so now there are the two different data nodes, and if I'm having okay, if I'm having a information like one here, okay, which is a part of this only. Now I'm having the information 2 here. Now I'm having information 3 here. Okay, 1 3 1 3 4 5, for example. 2 is here now. When I'm doing batch processing, what happens? This is a one data node which is consists of a batch of data, and this is a data node which consists of the data. Now in the batch processing, it is very difficult for me to reach to this data. That is a very big limitations. Okay, that means one has to search the entire data set for the simplest of the jobs, which is a hectic. I cannot search where is two, where is two, where is two. Here you can say seeing directly because you are having only two data nodes. But remember, guys, in the real world, people may have, in the real world, you people may have, okay, in the real world, you people may have up to thousands to lakhs together of name nodes and data nodes. Now, searching such information over the entire data set is a hectic job. That is one limitation in the Hadoop. Okay, and even a huge data set when processed, okay, the result in another huge data set, which could also be a process sequentially. At this point, some new solutions to be needed because you are processing a huge amount of data set. So that is all the two limitations of the Hadoop. Okay, these are the two limitations of the Hadoop. And even HBase is a distributed column-oriented database, which is basically built on the top of Hadoop file system. Okay, and even HBase, as I told you, it's a data model. It's a model. Okay, like your Google Big Table, Hadoop is also a model. Okay, which is going to help you to quickly access the random information present over it with fault tolerance facility. You will know Google is also help you to get the data randomly very fast. Just to type what is hype and you see Google is replying. In the same manner, Hadoop is also here. Hadoop, whenever I ask something over the Hadoop, HBase is the one which is going to help me to quickly access the random data. Okay, which is going to fetch me the data and give the information. Here is your data within fraction of seconds. And even it is going to overcome the problem of fault tolerance. Okay, so that is what the beauty of HBase is. Guys, there is no more difference, no more difference between Google Bigtable and Hadoop base. Okay, both are safe, but Google don't want to compromise with its standards, so they have developed Google Bigtable. Hadoop it has been developed by Yahoo. They also don't, because once the day people remember, Yahoo Google went to Yahoo to get it bought by the Yahoo, but Yahoo didn't buy the Google, and now the time has been changed, so they are using their own standards. Okay, and if people remember which is the company which is holding a biggest cluster of Hadoop, it is not none other than Yahoo. Yahoo is holding the biggest cluster of the Hadoop in the world. Okay, so this is how the things goes. Okay, data consumer is there, data producer is there. If people know who are going to store the information in a big server, for example, let us see your Hadoop server, Hadoop cluster only, they are the data producers. And who is going to get the information from the Hadoop cluster, they are the data consumers. Basically, their consumers are going to read the information, producers are going to write the information. Where they are going to do all these things is nothing but a HBase. See, it's a complete cycle, HBase. Okay, data producer will write the information to the centralized storage. Data consumer is going to read the information from the centralized storage by using the specialized languages like your Pig, Hive, what I can say, Oozy, all come into the picture. They are one or the other way they are going to help. If you want to go for a streaming data, you are going to go for a Flume, Scoop, everything you are going to use based on your requirements. Okay, so storage mechanism in HBase, basically as I told you, HBase Hadoop base is going to store the information in a column oriented ways. Okay, it consists of tables. What is a table? Table is nothing but it's a collection of rows. Okay, what is a row? Row is a collection of columns, column families. We will see in the next diagram. Okay, so column family is a collection of columns, and column is a collection of key value pair. Key value pair, if people know, whenever I'm searching the data, I'm going to search the data based on the key value pair. Okay, for example, I say what is Hive? What is general? Hive is a key value pair for me, and where whatever the content with respect to Hive is going to be captured by the Google, and they are going to throw to your browser. Okay, based on the priorities, which data is highest priority, that data is going to come over the top. Or even there is a bidding system. Okay, some bidding system is also there. If a particular company is information providing company, they may bid data, they may bid to the Google huge amount, and they are going to display your data on the first. Those are the things goes. Okay, so this is how the storage mechanism. As I told you, column families. Okay, row. Okay, collection of tables. Okay, this is how basically this is a key here, like 1 2 3, like the same. It may be any primary key is going to be considered. Okay, this is how the storage mechanism for HBase goes. Okay, so yeah, where to use HBase? Okay, all this open sources has been developed by Apache. Okay, Apache is the key owner for all these open source developers. People say Apache Flume, Apache Scoop, people say Apache HBase. Okay, Apache HBase is used to have random real-time read-write operations. Okay, random read-write operations. It hosts very large data over the tables. Okay, I'm having a hardware. I'm going to store a large amount of a data over the hardware. Okay, and even your Apache HBase is non-relational database model like Google Bigtable. Okay, so this is how the things goes with respect to HBase. And coming to the HBase architecture, do you guys remember what is a Zoomkeeper? It's a very simple diagram. I have told you once in this chapter only about the Zoomkeeper, or I can say Zookeeper. Okay, what is the work of the Zookeeper? Do you remember? It is the one which is going to maintain the health condition of the nodes, whether the node is active, whether the node is dead. Okay, whether the node is running state, what is the status of the node? All these activities, they are going to be maintained by Zookeeper. Okay, as usual, the network issue. Fine. So let me finish talk about this and complete the class of today's. Okay. So as I was telling, HBase. Okay. So here we are having a Zookeeper. You know what is the meaning of a Zookeeper? Zookeeper is one technology which is going to help you to keep the information about the nodes. Okay, so here you are going to have a Hadoop master, here we are going to have a climb, and you are going to have SDFS systems. Okay, so here we can have different kinds of things. Okay, basically the work of Zookeeper is to inform with respect to that of your uh, activity of the node, whether it's an alive, whether it is dead, or what is the status of the node. Okay, this is how the Zookeeper works. So if people having regional servers, different kinds of regions, if people know regional server, you people say www.amazon.in. When I say Amazon.in, it is going to link to India. When I say Amazon.com, that is what it is going to connect to a different server. Like this, we are having different regional servers. There are a lot of regional servers. This is how the things goes. Okay, with respect to the top HBase architecture. Okay, so I think for today we are going to wind up here. Okay, we people are having different kinds of things. Okay, in the upcoming class, why we need an, what is the application of version 1 in Hadoop, what is the application of version 2. Basically there are two versions are present in your Hadoop version 1 and Hadoop version 2. So these are all the things we are going to see in the upcoming classes. Okay, so I will continue the class in tomorrow. Okay, any doubts, anything, you can feel free to call me. I think I have uploaded the notes of module 1 and module 2. Soonly I'm going to upload the module 3 also. And assignment questions is already given. Okay, kindly write the assignment questions in A4 sheets with answers. And then you are going to submit a scanned copy to my email ID. Okay, so anything apart from this, kindly let me know. And thank you for attending my class. Okay, so kindly concentrate on these languages, which is very, very important. It may be like Pig, Hive, okay, HBase, Scoop, Uzi, Flume, everything is too important. Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you for attending the classes. Bye.